Whoa, this is Facebook Live, huh? Or Instagram Live, dude. Hi. It's time to do the mini coaching session, and I wanted to share. Hopefully I can download this afterwards. Well, if not, I'm gonna actually hold, please. I'm gonna actually record my screen just in case. I've had problems. Hi, Jenna Smith Counseling. So I'm excited about this. I've been waiting for this. Finally got my new Fox planner in. Here it is. It's really exciting. I'll open it up in a second. But before we begin, this is for goal setting and intentions for 2021. This was my 2020 Fox planner. And I'm so proud. I have to share a moment of pride because I actually finished the entire year. I've never stuck with something so long. I had one in 2019. It was a orange one, and I kept up with it weekly. It's a weekly journal, and I didn't stick to it as much as I did in 2020. I made a plan in 2020 early on in the year before everything happened to make this my goal that I would stick to this and stay disciplined and consistent in filling out my Fox planner. And I did. So I'm so excited and proud. And I look back on my goals from the beginning of the year, and I didn't accomplish a lot of them, but I accomplished some of them because I was consistently writing in my planner. So like health goals, I definitely did. My business goals definitely did. Family and friends, it was a rough year. My dad passed away, so I planned on going to see my family twice last year. Ended up seeing my family way more than that, so I exceeded that goal, but it was because my dad passed away. Significant other goals, totally did that. Financial goals, totally did that. Personal development goals, didn't do some of them, but I did start some personal development stuff that I wasn't expecting, so that was cool. Fun and recreation. I wanted to golf once a week. COVID stopped that. And spiritual goals. I wanted to go on a retreat and hike once a month. Did not hike once a month, but I did go on some RV retreats because that's all I could do in COVID. We'll go over focus and goals. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 focus and goals. There's mind maps. And then you start off your year, your month, doing goals, your wins, and how you're going to improve. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk you guys. This is a mini coaching session. This is what I do with some of my coaching clients, is kind of work on the day-to-day, moment-to-moment habits and stay consistent so that if you even improve 1% every day, by the end of next year, you're going to be 365% better. So that's really the goal. Even if you skip a day, get back on it. Stay disciplined, stay consistent. I think the problem with goal setting usually is people set them too high, and then once they fail, they think, oh, I failed, and they stop, and they don't rework their goals. So the goal here in this little mini coaching session is to grab your journal, grab your favorite pen. My favorite pen is a Frixion ball clicker erasable pen, mostly because this is like how my business is run, perfectly and imperfectly. I think I'm gonna write it perfectly, but then it's definitely not perfect, so I get to erase. So I love erasable pens. This is my favorite pen. Get your favorite pen so you get excited about writing in your planners and your journals, because if you aren't excited about it, you're not gonna do it. So that's the number one thing. Get excited about this. This is fun. This is fun to set and rework goals. So here we go. Let's do this. 2020 was definitely a rough year for a lot of people. And I call it a game. You have to figure out what game you're playing so that you can win it, and you want to have winnable goals. So this year in 2021, this is my Fox planner, the new one. It sends little stickers that you can use. I don't ever use them, but they go in the back pocket of the Fox planner. And it actually, before I get my new Fox planner out, this is, they just walk you step by step on how to use the Fox planner it seems like kind of straightforward, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. There's gratitude and self-awareness stuff. There's goal setting. They kind of tell you how to set goals in here, which I'll go a little bit over, but I'm going to use a lot of Brian Johnson optimized stuff with you guys, which I have gotten trained in. I'm currently in a year-long training program. I've followed Brian Johnson since 2009. He's awesome. So go over and check him out. Optimize. He's gonna, you know how Brene Brown got famous. You know, she blew up. This is Brian Johnson. Watch out. He's coming out. He's coming for the world. Okay, so here's my new Fox Planner. I accidentally got the daily one, so it's super thick. So it's a little overwhelming to me. I like the weekly ones. So these are my last two. This is going to be 2021. It's really cool because it's a color that excites me this year. And I see it around my house wherever I go. So this is super bright. I don't lose it. It's nice. It's leather. It's soft. This was my 2021, and my 2019 was orange. So it's cool to put them all together in your bookshelf because it kind of is like a journal. You get to go back and look at the progresses you made and the intentions that you set in that year. It was really cool by September to go back to January and see what little goals I had set in January last year and how they were so small. But at the time in January 2020, they were so big to me, and I couldn't imagine doing it. But because I stuck with the little goals every single day, then by September, I did it. Every single month, I reset my goals. I broke it down into small increments so that I could win the game, and got further than I could ever imagine by September. And I looked back in September, that was really hard grief time. My dad died in July. But I was just looking back, trying to look at my gratitude stuff and the things that I accomplished, and it was awesome. So I get super excited when I get my new Fox planners now because it means that I get to look back at myself and see all the growth that I feel when I feel down or when I feel like I'm not accomplishing my things. So let's get right into it. One of the things that Brian Johnson talks about is know the game that you're playing and play it well. What that means is, like, you and I could go out there outside and we could play tennis with a ball, and we can on a concrete pad, and we can hit the ball back and forth. That would be fun, sure, and you know there's no rhyme or reason what we're doing. But when you put lines around the concrete pad and you have rules and regulations and you actually play the game, it actually makes it more fun. Sure, you could lose, but yes, you win sometimes. And you actually know why you won, because you hit it in, you hit it out, you served, you do all this stuff. So when you know the game you're playing and you know the rules you're setting, then you can actually win the game. And you're not just doing it, you know, off the fly. So what that looks like is 2018, I never set goals. I never did that. So sure, I'd have good days. Sure, I'd have good months. But I didn't know really why, because I didn't set any goals. I just was kind of, you know, winging it day to day. But when I set my goals, it's like putting lines around that court and knowing exactly what needs to be done and what needs to be improved on. So that's the number one thing, is know the game that you're playing and make it winnable, and so that you can win the game. Number two, most important thing that I'm going to set up for you today is we're going to be archers in a science lab jacket. And what that means is, if you think of an archer, they do everything they can to control the things that are within their control. So they put the arrow on, they make sure they have the right equipment first, right? And then they put the thing on the, I don't even know, I'm not an archer, but they put the arrow on the bow. They draw it back. They make sure that their muscles and everything are set up in line. They work out their muscles so they could draw it as far as they need to draw it and stay strong. And then they make sure they know the wind. They make sure they know the environment. They know where the target is, and they're aiming for this target far, far away. And once they let go of that bow and that arrow starts flying, everything is out of their control. It's up to the arrow and up to the prep work that was done before you let go of the arrow in order for it to hit the bullseye. So sometimes it hits the mark, sometimes it doesn't. So that's where the lab coat comes in. We are going to jump into 2021 as scientists. You need to look at yourself as a scientist, and everything that you do is data. I tell every single one of my clients this. there's no judgment from a scientist looking at data. And unfortunately, we use a lot of judgment and self-criticism when we do something that we didn't want to do. So the important thing for this year, if you can write it in your journal or write it at the beginning of your Fox Planner, be an archer in a lab jacket, a scientist lab jacket, which means set yourself up, set your bow, set your arrow, get yourself strong, do the things you need to do to control the thing within your control. And then once you let go of that arrow, you go and you check where it landed and you see what needs work, what needs to be adjusted. And then you go back and you adjust whatever you need to adjust. That's how goals work. You're looking at that as a scientist. So you go over to where the arrow is, you look at it. If it's a little left, a little right, you look at the wind, you figure out, maybe you need to adjust something in your bow, you need to adjust something in your arrow. Something needs to be adjusted, and you go back and you rework it and you try again. So Brian talks a lot about mistakes. We often kick ourselves in the butt for mistakes, but a mistake is actually a mistake. So like in a movie, you're taking 3, 2, 1, or what is it? I don't even know. Lights, camera, action. Take. A take. So a mistake is a mistake. You're taking the scene over again. Don't think of it as it's one and done, we're over. You want to think of it as you missed the mark, like on an arrow hitting a bullseye. So that's what we're looking at all of your goals this year too, is you're constantly adjusting and readjusting your goals so that you can look at it like a scientist, look at the data, and then the next day try a different thing. So we're planning for the obstacles that are going to come in your way. You're planning for the foreseeable triggers that could come stop you from doing the habits they're going to be doing. You're planning for getting yourself in the right mindset for your day. And I talk so much with my clients about this, having a daily protocol, which I'll discuss just a tiny bit because I don't want to give away too much. But having a daily protocol to set your energy, work, and your love up wholeheartedly so that you can come into the day totally prepped. And we'll talk a lot about your bookends of the day. So how are you setting up your morning? How are you setting up your night? And actually, your bookends should start the night before for your day. Because if you don't go to bed early, you don't go to bed with good sleep, you're automatically telling yourself that tomorrow is going to be a mediocre day. That's what it is. So what we do is track where you're going to sleep, track when you're turning off your digital stuff, your blue lights, because your brain is not wired to have blue light, and we tend to look at our phone until we close our eyes, and then our brain is like a little snow globe that's been shooken up, and it takes a while for it to settle. So that's why it takes some people a long time to fall asleep. Some people, like 2 nights ago, I had a night where I knew I didn't follow my sleep protocol. I was looking on my phone, and I could not fall asleep for hours. My brain was just spinning, mostly because I was prepping for this, but it just couldn't stop. And that's how your brain works. It's like a snow globe. It's shaken all day with all this stimulus. And you've got to have a nightly protocol to stop the blue light coming in at least an hour before you go to bed so that you can set your day up for your best sleep for tomorrow so that you can wake up with the best energy that you have. And if you were truly to track your sleep and track your sleeping habits, that is the number one goal I made this last year, was to track my sleeping. And it changed my whole world. Literally, it really did. Sleep is the number one goal that I had last year. And it is the number one goal that I would recommend for all you guys to have. Really, really hone in on your sleep, because when you wake up with energy, you're going to do the things that you said you're going to do. You're going to tackle triggers. You're going to tackle obstacles in your best self, not your tired self. You're going to be the best, most energetic self that you can be. So sleep, number one protocol, which we'll talk about that in our goal setting. So your bookend starts the night before. You want to make sure that you get to sleep and have at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And that sounds so much. I remember thinking 8 to 9 hours of sleep was ridiculous. That's too much sleep. But now if I don't get 8 to 9 hours of sleep because I've done this for so long, I kick myself because I know my brain needs it. I know my body needs it. It's my best self when I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And when you think about it, you actually have to be in bed for 9 to 10 hours because it takes an hour for you to fall asleep. And so that, I mean, for some of you with kids, that might not even be possible. So actually, speaking of kids, kids are a great example of how we should be living our lives. If you think about all the boundaries we put on kids in the sense of, okay, put your iPad away. It's time to get in bed. It's time to do your bath time. It's time to go to bed at 7, 8 o'clock. They're going to bed early. And what time do they get up? Super early on their own without an alarm clock. Same thing with dogs. I look at dogs too. They live life how we should. So think about children, how you were when you were a kid. What were you doing to get good sleep? You were probably going to bed at a good hour. You were probably not looking at blue light. You were probably waking up on your own and not thinking about stressors. With my coaching and therapy clients, I talk about how to let go of anxiety. Anxiety is just without action put into it, it's going to sit with you. It's just extra energy inside of your body that's just sitting in there. And if you don't put action to anxiety, you're going to just sit in that state. So when you can't sleep and you're anxious about something, write it down. It's a way to put action to it. Or take a walk, get up and move. Put action to your anxiety. Totally going off on a tangent here because we haven't even gotten to the goal setting, but let's get started. So let's open up your planners. Hopefully you have yours in front of you. And what we're going to start with is in my planner, in the Fox Journal, it has a section for, is it backwards? It has a section for my gratitude and self-awareness. I'm grateful for. All this stuff we're not going to do here because I think you should do that on your own time. But it is important to always have gratitude. It is one of the 5 top virtues of happy people. The 5 top virtues of happy people are, zest, hope, gratitude, hope, curiosity, and love. So those are the 5 top virtues of happy people and the most content people. That's what the science shows. So again, it's, I already forgot again. It's zest is number 1. Gratitude is number 2. Number 3 is hope. Number 4 is curiosity. That's that scientist lab coat that I was talking about. And number 5 is love. So when we go into the virtues and the identity management, you want to have at least 1 or 2 of those in your mind to live every day. So I wake up with a curious mindset. Curiosity for me is one of my top virtues that I strive to have. When I am missing the mark and I'm not hitting a goal, instead of beating myself up about it, I maintain curiosity and ask myself, well, what needs work? What can I do better? What can I wake up doing better tomorrow? Oh, I didn't wake up with good energy today. I probably didn't sleep well the night before. What can I do to improve my sleep? What can I do to improve my energy eating wise? What can I do to improve my energy movement wise? We're going to talk about eat, sleep, move, breathe, be present. Those are the 5 main topics that we're going to put in our journals and our planners of goals that you want to set for yourself daily in your protocol. You want to eat every day well. You want to move every day. You want to sleep really well. You want to breathe. You want to practice breath work. And you want to be present, which being present means being present with your own thoughts and being present with others. So putting away the phone and listening with intention to your own thoughts and to other people's thoughts. I'm going so off. I have so much in my mind. I'm just throwing at you, so I apologize. So that's the gratitude piece. Gratitude is one of the top 5 virtues. So that's why I love Fox planners, because every day there's a gratitude piece that you have to put in every week if you get the weekly planner. What am I most passionate about? What brings me joy in life? 2020 was really tough for people. So very aware that this is very tough to do. It is a practice to kind of think about what brings you joy, especially when you're struggling and you're not working or you're not, doing your normal routine that you did before 2020 hit. Joy has been significantly reduced in this last year because our routines are altered and our passions are not there like they used to be. So this might be a tough section for you. What brings you joy? What are you passionate about? You might have to be a little bit more creative there. You might have to think about, I don't know, in the morning when I was really grieving my dad's death, I I would do my intentions of, what brings me excitement. And excitement was a really tough word for me to feel after my dad died this year. So in the mornings when I was really cold, I literally would just be like, well, I'm grateful for my blanket, or I'm excited to be in my blanket. Like, that's it. That's all that brought me joy and excitement. And, in doing that, in doing gratitude work, and in doing things where you think about things that bring you joy, you're actually giving your brain a little bit of a dopamine hit. And one of my clients, I love the way he puts it because it just makes me giggle. He says it's a dopamine squirt. Some people don't like that word, but I think it's a funny word. So he says when you, well, not him, but when you give yourself a thought of something that excites you, or a thought of something that you're grateful for, you're actually tricking your brain into giving you a squirt of dopamine. And when you're feeling low or you have low energy, you really need to up that. And we're going to talk a lot about when you feel your worst, you should really do your protocol the most. You shouldn't do your protocol the most when you're good. You should do it when you're at your lowest. And by lowest, I mean your energy lowest. If you have no energy, you're not going to be able to do anything. So energy should be your number one goal this year in 2021, is making sure that you have the best possible energy that you can have in order to tackle anything else that comes at us. Because really, honestly, after 2020, who's surprised at anything else that comes at us anymore? There's so many obstacles and so many things that come at us in our way that we have to overcome, that you have to just have good energy. So like that archer metaphor I told you about, control the controllables. You set up your bow, you do everything you can to line it up, and then once you let go of that arrow, it's out of your control. And the only way to do that is to control your controllables, and everything in your own routine: sleep, eat, move, breath, be present. Those are the 5 things that are in your control that will help you maintain good energy. And energy, like I said, is the main reason why you can accomplish your goals. Think about if you drink or you use substances and you wake up the next morning and you're hungover, or you didn't have a good night's sleep, you wake up, you're not going to want to do your plan that you had. I mean, maybe you'll go to work, but chances are you're not going to be your best self. Your energy is going to be super low. You're not going to accomplish the things that you wanted to do because you don't have good energy. So the reason why I'm doing this mini coaching session is make 2021 the year that you really hone in on energy work. And energy work is eat, sleep, move, breath, and be present. To be honest, I did not do breath and be present this last year, which I'm really going to hone in on this year. But I definitely focused on eat, sleep, and move. My sleep protocol was spot on. I felt amazing, even through grief. I felt like ready to tackle the day. I have energy. A lot of people, when I would see them, they'd say, how are you so energetic and so zesty? It's 2020. And it literally was something I practiced every day through my sleep protocol and through my my eating regimen. I have multiple sclerosis, so I know my body now works its best when I'm sticking to my paleo diet. When I start eating processed foods and sugars and dairy and gluten, I immediately feel it. So I kind of think of multiple sclerosis for me like a blessing, because it taught me to listen to my body. As soon as I have a accidental piece of gluten, like sometimes it's in broths and stuff, my feet start going numb immediately. And then the next day, my joints start hurting, and I just have to go back to square one that day, start back to my paleo and stick to it and cook my own foods and stuff like that. So food-wise, eating-wise, last year, I made sure to stick to it. Even if I messed up every once in a while, I would put my science lab coat on, research what the data showed. The data showed my body didn't like it. And so I would rework the experiment and get back to what I know works now, which is paleo. Lots of water, sleeping wise, my sleep protocol was whenever I stopped binging my TV, I would go to bed. And I got in the habit of putting away all of my blue lights, at least my phone, for sure my phone, and go to bed by 9, which sounds super early, and at first I was like, oh God, that's awful. But I went to bed by 9 and fall asleep around 9:30, 9:45. And the reason I'd fall asleep, and it's my it's my one vice that I do keep in my sleep protocol because it does help me sleep, is I put on the Great British Baking Show, and I've seen those episodes so many times that I don't really have to think when I watch them, and something about the music, or I don't know, it's just so sweet and nice and mellow that it just lulls my brain to sleep. And by the second cooking thing that they do on there, I'm like, I'm out. So I go to bed by 9, I'm out by 9:30. And then I wake up without an alarm, usually around like 6:37. And then I start my morning protocol. My morning protocol is journaling first. This year I'm going to add in meditation, and I'll tell you about that goal in a second. I'm really excited about it. And I cook my breakfast every morning. So I have a huge breakfast every morning that I'm really excited to make. It's the same breakfast every single morning. It's a 2-egg omelet with vegetables, 2 pieces of bacon, and 2 pieces of gluten-free toasts, and water. Oh, coffee. I have a really nice coffee that no, it's not really nice, actually. It's Folgers instant coffee, because I just boil my water and that's it. Oh, hey, love the Great British Baking Show too. It's awesome. It's the best. So I get up in the morning, do the same breakfast every morning, and then I do what's called my pre-input win. And my pre-input win means before I even get on my phone. And you notice that when I wake up, I didn't say anything about my phone. I didn't wake up with an alarm because I got my good sleep. I didn't pick up my phone as soon as I rolled over. I don't do that anymore. I wake up, I go out to my front room, I grab my Fox planner, I start journaling for the day. I start saying exactly what I want to do, what am I grateful for, what are my intentions, what are my affirmations. I write down, make sure my clients are on there. I know what I'm doing. I see where my blocked schedule is for, my work, my seeing clients, and then my self-care, and then my connection at the end of the day. It's super laid out for me. Some days I don't follow it, but most days I did last year. I'm very proud of that. And so my morning routine literally starts with pre-input wins. A pre-input win means before you start shaking the globe with your phone and things that are external that cause you to react. Brian says that you want to be in creative mode, not reactive mode, as long as you can be in the morning. So, and it's funny because creative and reactive are actually made from the same letters, which is cool. You want to be in creative mode when you wake up for as long as you can before you pick up reactive mode, which means picking up your phone, looking at your email, watching TV. When you're in reactive mode, input is coming into your brain and it overloads it, it stimulates it, and you're not able to be creative. So that morning protocol is super, super important to set and stick to, because that is the closest you're going to get to the inner part of who you are. So that's why I just started the journaling thing in the morning, like towards a little bit after my dad died in July, because I was off. And that space in the morning is my most sacred time, when I wake up to write what's just there. I haven't picked up my phone. I haven't done anything to react. I'm in creative mode. And I write out my day. I write out what I want to do. I write out my intentions. I write out my blocked self-care time. And my self-care time is also the morning protocol. But I also have a self-care time where I go work out and I do errands and stuff like that. And yeah, that's that. So, stay in your pre-input win mode as long as you can. Stay away from reaction mode. Stay away from looking at your phone, social media, all that stuff. I know I use social media to talk to you guys, and that's super important for my business and to get this out there, and there's value in social media. But when you use it in a non-controllable way, you're just picking it up whenever you're bored, it consumes you. You are the consumer, and you don't want to be a consumer. You want to create. You want to create stuff and put it out there. You don't want to consume. So I really try to limit my social media time. There are days when I don't follow my protocol, and I definitely notice the next day that I feel less energy. I feel not wanting to do my protocol as much. And I look at it like a scientist. I literally look at it like data. I don't beat myself up about it. I don't sit there and shame myself about it. I sit there and I go, okay, the data shows that my body didn't like that. So let's get back on protocol. Let's get back to it. Every single moment, every single day, that's what it is. It's just looking at yourself as data, checking the data, and seeing where you can improve. So I always say, what worked yesterday? Pat myself on the back, give myself a celebration, because again, you're giving yourself a little dopamine hit when you do that. So I'm so proud of myself that I'm doing this, that I said I was going to do this and I'm doing it. So yay me. That's like me. You want to say that a lot. So put that in your journal too. That's like me. It's super powerful. You know, when you celebrate yourself, you say, that's like me. I followed through with what I wanted to do. That's like me. And you don't need a lot of people to celebrate you when you're celebrating yourself. I remember being very reliant on other people's validation, and it is a practice to validate yourself and to believe what you're saying. So I knew that when I set my intention to do this mini coaching session, that there would be a possibility that I would be scared, that I would walk away from it and I wouldn't do it. But here I am, I'm doing it. So I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. That's like me. I'm here. I did it. Okay. Now I go, what worked? What didn't work? What is not working? Well, I'm not sticking to my script. That's not working. So let's get back to it. So let's go back here. I'm grateful for skills to learn and habits to adopt. You could go do that yourself. My skills to learn and habits to adopt, I wrote them down. Let me just tell you some examples. Skills to learn. I would like to learn how to do bookkeeping. Right now, my mom is teaching me, and I am struggling with it. I always want to learn what my business needs. I don't like to vet it out until I know exactly what it entails, so that I know what the value of it is. So I want to learn bookkeeping this year. I'm going to do some courses on that. I also want to learn how to do Google Ads. I have no clue how to do that, so I need to figure that out to help my business grow and to advertise. As a person with a home business, you don't get to network, and with COVID, definitely you don't get to network. So you really have to learn how to put yourself out there online. I also, what does it say? Skills to learn, habits to adopt. I play the piano and I play the guitar. Not that great with the guitar, pretty good with the piano. But I haven't been playing it, since my dad died. And so my new 2021 goal is to create at least 2 songs. And, I've never created a song before, but that's my game that I want to play and I want to win it. So I'm going to do that this year. And my habits to adopt this year are, I talked about last year, I implemented eat, sleep, move. And this year I'm adding the 4th and 5th element, which is breath and be present. So here's my habit that I'm going to adopt this year. I need small winnable goals. If it's too big, I'm not going to do it. So I created this in my night 2 nights ago when I couldn't sleep. I told myself, okay, if I break it down weekly, if I could do a weekly goal, that's good. I could do that. So I decided that there's 52 weeks in a year. So 1 to 52, that's a reasonable number. I am so bad at meditating. It's awful. I hate it. I know it's good for me. I know people do it all the time, but I am just so bad at it. My brain moves a million miles a second and I feel like I'm doing it wrong. So I'm going to give myself compassion this year and try my new meditation habit, which is I'm going to start off with week 1, 1 minute every morning of meditation. And then week 2, 2 minutes of meditation. Week 3, 3 minutes of meditation every day. By the end of the year, I should get up to 52 minutes. And it sounds impossible for me to sit and stare at something or close my eyes for 52 minutes. I can't imagine myself doing that, but I can imagine myself in week 1 sitting there for 1 minute and doing a 1 minute meditation. So that's my meditation. That's my breath goal, is to sit there and work and focus on my breath for 1 minute. And then week 2, I'm going to focus on 2 minutes. And then week 3, I'm going to focus on 3 minutes. And I'm going to add that into my morning protocol. So what that would mean is I'm going to have to shorten either my eating, cooking time, or I'm going to have to push out my my morning protocol, my pre-input wins before I start working. So, or wake up earlier, but I don't want to do that. So that's my goal. And I also, on that note, on the movement goal, my habit. I also want to implement that 1 to 52 idea with push-ups. I've been working a little bit more on push-ups. I'm horrible at push-ups. I do knee push-ups. And I'm going to do 1 push-up the first week every day. I actually do more. And then the next week do 2 every day. And then the next week do 3 every day. And I'm just going to see how far I can go. Hopefully by the end of the year, I can do 52 push-ups a day. I can't even imagine doing that, but I'm going to try. I'm excited. So that really excites me that I'm going to write out 1 push-up today. I could do that. No problem. 2 push-ups today. No problem. 1 minute of meditation. No problem. But I'll keep you guys updated on that. I hope I hold myself accountable. No, I am going to hold myself accountable to that because that is my goal. All right. The next step in your Fox Planner is a vision board. I'll show you what my vision board looked like last year. I think this is so funny. I'll show you. My affirmation for last year, I had 1 because I was new at this, is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says, make 2020 your bitch. Well, we can see who made them my bitch. 2020 made me their bitch last year, so I don't think that worked. But I find that funny. I look back at that and I'm like, let's try to find something a little more, I don't know, affirming, I guess, for this year. Okay, so my vision board last year included, oh, cool, awesome, do it. I can't wait to hear about the minute meditation. I want other people to do it with me too, so we can hold each other accountable. Anyways, my vision board last year was pretty sparse. It was mostly having to do with business, and I actually met my business goal. I wanted to fill my practice and take on some employees, and I did that. I'm really happy that it's growing, and not happy for the amount of pain there is in the world, because unfortunately in my business of therapy, when I'm busy, it means that other people are in pain. But I try to reframe it as they're coming to me because they want help getting unstuck, and they want support. So they're taking that extra courageous step. I started with a new therapist last year, right around when my dad died, and I forget how courageous it is for people to come to therapy. It is so courageous because every week I go, I am a therapist. You'd think I'd like going to therapy, but it's hard. Every week it's hard. I go in going, oh God, here we go. I have to do this. I don't want to be vulnerable. But I come out of it going, oh, I'm glad I did that. So all of you people who are out there going to therapy and who can go to therapy right now, good job. Pat yourself on the back. That's like me. I did it, because not everybody does. Not everybody wants to sit and look at the yucky for 50 minutes, an hour a week, and with somebody else watching. And so give yourself a little pat on the back if you do go to therapy, if you do take that time out of your schedule to do that. It is hard, really, really hard. So that's like me. Say that. Just start practicing, giving yourself that little dopamine squirt. That's like me. All right. The next one. The next page is goals, my goals. And this is where we're kind of getting into today. Is in my new one, you can see a blank one. In my new one, it says goals. It does health and fitness. What else? Business, career, family, friends, significant other, and romance, finance, personal development, fun and recreation, and spiritual. Can you guys see that? No, you can't. Okay. Anyways, well, let me just put it to you this way. You could go through this and individually write down goals. That would be like every other coach telling you to write down goals. But I'm going to teach you something new. This is something that is also very fresh for me that I learned through Brian Johnson's Optimize program. Instead of making goals that are all about time management, which is like, if you set a health goal, you're trying to lose a certain amount of weight in a certain amount of time, or a business goal, you're trying to do something in a certain amount of time. So you're trying to do time management in your goals. And so instead of doing time management, we're going to do identity management. And what that means is you want to find some words that you want to live up to. What identity do you want to be? Who do you want to be in 2021? And everything should follow after that. It needs to be, you need to really put some time and thought into this. It took me a while to come up with mine, and I think I have it, but I probably will adjust it a little bit as I move through the year. But for now, what I came up with for my identity that I want to embody, and I want to make sure to get this right, so I'm going to read it. The identity I want is, I want to be a zesty responder. That is my goal. I want to be a zesty responder. And remember when I told you the top 5 qualities of happy people are zest, gratitude, hope, curiosity, and love? Well, zest is number 1. And I want to have zest as much as possible. I want to have zest when I do the dishes. I want to have zest when I don't feel like I want to write in my journal. I want to have zest when I want to look at my phone, but I know I should go do my nightly protocol and go to bed. I want to have zest, meaning I want to have that extra spark, that extra energy to get excited about whatever I'm supposed to be doing. So no more boo-hooing, no more wah-wah, no more, oh, woe is me. In 2021, my new adjective that I want to embody, my new identity and virtue is zesty. And the way I tell my clients to add zest is a little dopamine hit, is just to punch the air and go, yes, let's do this. It's super easy to do that. But my identity I want to embody this year is a zesty responder. I actually said at first a zesty helper. And I really thought about helper for a while. And I was like, I don't know if I want to help. I think 2020 was helper. I was helping all over the place. I was seeing more clients than I've ever seen. I was helping my family more than probably I should have, because I was coming back and forth to Texas to try to help support my mom with the adjustments, which I'm glad I did, but it definitely took a toll on me. I didn't do my protocol as much as I should have. I didn't pay attention to me. So I think 2020 was helper, and I decided not to make zesty helper my identity for 2021. So my identity this year, I decided, is to do zesty responder. And I really like the idea of a responder, because a responder responds to obstacles. A responder responds to anything that comes at them, to triggers. And I want to respond and not sit, not, wait. I want to respond. Whatever it is that comes at me, I want to respond. And I want to respond with zest. So when we're talking about goal setting, and this is key in coaching with me, is you need to find your identity and you need to embody it. You need to write it places. You need to know when you wake up in the morning what you're going to be. You need to know what that phrase is that you're going to live by. So when we go back to work and things are normal, you go back to work as a zesty responder. You go as, if you're a parent at home, I would like to be a zesty responder to a kid. I would like to be a zesty responder to myself. If I'm feeling like I need some time, to do some self-care, I would like to respond to that, not sit and wait. I want to respond with zest. So I've been thinking about that for a while. It took me about a week. So I recommend highly that you guys do that too. Take time to think about your identity management. And when you do that, then the goals will follow. So I have my identity management. I have my identity as zesty responder. I also want to be that archer in a lab coat. So I'm setting up the controllables with my archery. I'm letting the arrow go. And as soon as I let it go, I go look at where it landed with my lab coat on, and I look at the data and see how I can improve. So I'm a zesty responder, archer in a lab coat. That's my goal of 2021. And then go through your planner and come up with specific goals that are for you. So for me, in health and fitness, I want to continue my sleep protocol. I want to eat, sleep, move, be present, and breathe. Those are my 5. I want to continue doing that. Movement is super important for multiple sclerosis, which is what I have. If I don't move, my body is dead the next day. I have to keep moving. I have to at least have 30 minutes of getting my heart rate up to 120 beats per minute, or else I feel crappy. Like MS just wipes me out. And so I know, even though it's hard to get up and work out, I love it after I'm done, but it's just hard to get that motivation. And again, this year I'm not going to do that because I'm a zesty responder. If as soon as I hear myself go, oh, I got to work out, I'm going to zestfully respond and get out and do it and just do it. So that's my 2021 goal, zesty responder. I'm already starting it. I'm not even going to let that negativity come in. So that's what I have for my health is movement. Fitness wise, paleo is my eating wise. I'm sticking to paleo. If I fall off the wagon one day, that's okay. I'm a archer in a science code. I go look at the data. Why did I fall off the wagon? And then I get back on. That's it. I get back to my protocol and I stick to it. Breath work. I already talked about how I'm going to do 1 to 52 minutes of meditation. So week 1, 1 minute. Week 2, 2 minutes. Week 3, 3 minutes. All the way to 52. In December, next December, hopefully you'll hear me going, oh man, I can do 52 minutes of meditation. I'm really excited to get to that. Business and career. I've made very specific goals of how many clients I want to take on. I've made very specific goals that I want to create a self-esteem, self-confidence course with a workbook. So I've broken that down into specifics for monthly and daily, what I need to do that. And that's what I recommend that you do too. Make sure that you don't just say, I want to create a song, or I want to create a course, or I want to find a job. You need to break it down into what are the daily things that you have to do in order to do that. Write it down in your planner and hold yourself accountable. Trust yourself that you're going to do what you say you're going to do in your game that you're going to play and win it. If you didn't do it, look at it like a scientist. Look at the data. What does the data show you? What needs work? How can you improve it the next day, moment to moment to moment? And if you do that consistently, you will see results by next December. Guarantee it. And the key is consistency. Brian Johnson talks a lot about consistency. You can have one really fantastic, motivating, you get a lot of shit done excuse my French. You get a lot of stuff done in one day. Great. But let's say you do it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. It's exponential how far you're going to get. It's exponential. If you just do it one day, awesome, wonderful, great. But if you just make little itty bitty tiny wins every single day, it's exponential growth. You will grow so much by the end of the year. It seems there's a great metaphor for that. Like if we think of what makes a person rich versus what makes a person poor. I like using this because it's very tangible. People think about that. What is a rich person? At what point, at what dollar amount are they rich? And it's different for everybody. Like subjectively, I don't know, $100,000 makes somebody rich. I'm just throwing that out. $100,000. Well, okay, so does that mean that $999,999 is not rich? That's poor? No. So I move it down. Well, is it 800,000? Is it 700? Did I make it 1 million? I think I just switched it up, but you get my point. At what point, what dollar amount does it switch from poor to rich? There isn't. Like you could sit there and try to figure it out, but there isn't. But what it means is all those little dollars individually add up to richness. And if you got rid of one of those dollars, perhaps it might be that $1 that makes you from poor to rich, or whatever somebody thinks of as poor to rich. And the same thing could go to, heavy versus skinny. What makes somebody heavy versus skinny? Is it that 1 pound, or is it a 10-pound range? What is that? There isn't a specific poundage that makes you heavier. I mean, there is on BMI, but those are always wrong. I'm a hefty girl, and I always come out obese on the BMI because I'm just big. I'm big boned, and I hate it. Anyways, I hate the BMI idea because I'm big boned and muscular, and I always come out heavy. So, anyways, if you think about that concept, that what day this year, if you didn't do your protocol or you didn't do your goals, would make it that you were successful in your goals this year or not successful? Or is it a range of, like if you stuck to all your goals from January to June, does that make this year a successful year? And then you could just relax? I don't know. It's up to you. You figure it out. But the point is that these daily moment to moment actions and behaviors that seem so small add up, and it makes you successful or not successful. So if you only do one, of course you're not going to be successful. But if you do small daily habits and you continue to do that for the whole year, you're going to be successful. You're going to feel proud. You're going to feel confident. You're sticking to something for so long. And I remember that feeling in 2019, my journal here, 2019 journal. I did not stay consistent. I had great months. I had great days, but I did not stay consistent. I had, ups and downs. So it didn't feel as good that, even though I did do a lot that year, it didn't feel as good as 2020 did, where I seriously just did small little things every day, little wins that over the course of the year made me 365% better. And I can truly, honestly say that last year was a great year for me, despite my dad dying, despite COVID happening, despite having to go to therapy and do all of this stuff that was really challenging. I can honestly say that 2020 was a year that I'm very proud of, because I stuck to my little daily, tiny, minuscule seeming goals that over the course of the whole year has made me mentally trust myself. That I know now when I set a goal and I set a protocol and I have the intention to sticking to who my identity is, I'm good. I have that trust now. I know that I can set a goal now and believe that I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't set it. And that's the other thing that we talk about in coaching is trusting yourself. You have to set goals that you know you're going to do. Otherwise, you create mistrust in yourself. You think about trusting in other people. Well, there's also a trust that you have in yourself. If you don't set goals that are small enough that you win, and then you build those little drops in the bucket of trust for yourself, you're going to have lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem. You're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do. So make sure that you stick to whatever you say you're going to do. Have accountability, have reliability, do what you say you're going to do so that you build trust in yourself. If not, don't write it. Don't say it. Just don't. I'm telling you, if you say it out loud and you don't follow through, you're the only one that's the audience that's going to shame yourself at the end of the day. You're the only one that's going to beat yourself up for saying something and then not following through with it. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's you. You are your worst critic. So if anything, build your trust in yourself by setting small, winnable goals, even just 1 minute of meditation, which is what I'm doing this year. 1 minute of meditation a day. I can do that. I know I can do that. There's no reason why I can't meditate for 1 minute a day. That's it. So I'm saying that out loud because I know I can trust myself in doing that. If I set my goal at 52 minutes of meditation tomorrow, there's no way. I will not do 52 minutes of meditation. So I won't even set that goal. I have to set my goal very, very small, very, very winnable, so that I build the bucket of trust, so that I know when I say something, I'm going to do it. And that is the most valuable tool I learned in 2020 was when I say something, I do it. And it's because I learned how to set winnable goals. And that's why I'm here doing this little coaching mini session. Thank you, ChillSun915. I appreciate you following me and appreciate your words. It's very sweet. Okay. Once you write down your goals, now remember we talked about identity management. That is number one. You need to come up with your identity for the year. Who do you want to be? Well, maybe even just set your intention for January. Who do you want to be in January? Mine is a zesty responder. Mine is an archer with a lab coat on. And in every moment, I can just go to that identity. When I'm in question, when I'm in doubt, I just go to that identity and bam, I already know how to set a goal. I just have to be a zesty responder. So set your intentions for your identity for the year, and then you're going to start setting your individual goals. And we talked about on your individual goals, make them super specific and small and winnable. And when you go in and check, this is what I love about the Fox Planner. Every month and every week and every day, it has a place where it says this month's goal, this week's goal, or this day's goal. And then it has a space for this month's wins. I love that. You know why? Because you get to give yourself a little pat on the back and you get to go, that's like me. Because I won this month. I'm proud of myself this month. And when you do that, you give yourself a little dopamine hit, a little dopamine squirt, and then you start believing in yourself, you start having trust in yourself, and you want to do it again the next day or do it again the next week. That's awesome. You want to keep doing that. So it has a place for this day's wins. And then it has a place for how will I improve next month, next week, next day. So again, this is why I love Fox Planners, because they think of it like the scientist. Remember, we're not blaming or shaming. We're just looking at the data and going, okay, well, what worked? What didn't work? Moving on. Let's change it. Let's do something different. So I love that. I love that the Fox Planners, I wish I could meet the lady who made these, because it's very similar to the coaching work that I do in Optimize and Brian Johnson's stuff. This is a Fox Planner that is a daily one. I accidentally got the daily planner, so it's super fat. I'm very overwhelmed by it, but I'm going to try it. So for the weekly part of this is what I loved about my weekly one. It has this week's main goal, and I try to do the weekly thing on Sundays. So I set my week up right. You figure out what day you want to sit down and do your intentions every week. Weekly is very, very doable. Monthly is too long. Daily is too much, in my opinion, if you're not used to this. So weekly is perfect. Set a time on Sunday for you to sit down and look at what were your wins for the last week, what needs improvement, and then write something new. It's not difficult. It's just taking a look at yourself like a scientist and adjusting the data. So you have this week's main goal. You have a reward if achieved. That was super exciting for me. Here's why. I cannot have donuts. I love donuts, but it is full of sugar and it's full of gluten. And there's not very many places that can make a gluten-free donut that's really good. However, in LA, there's this place called Sidecar Donuts. Shout out to Sidecar Donuts. They make the most delicious gluten-free donuts. And that is literally my weekly thing that I go get if I reward myself. Well, I don't make it weekly because that would be terrible for me. But I'd say every month I go to Sidecar Donuts and I get myself a gluten-free donut from there. And they're so good. So I reward myself if I stick to my this week's main goal. Usually I'll make it, what if it's a zesty donut? That would be amazing. So if I do my goal, I'll say, oh, my reward is Sidecar Donuts. And that really motivates me. You got to figure out what motivates you, and you got to hold yourself back from having it all the time, because you got to use it as a reward system. If you give it to yourself anyways, then you're not going to stick to your goal. So have some restraint, hold back on the Sidecar Donuts or whatever it is for you, and only get it when you get to reward yourself. Like a little kid. Going back to, kids are the best trainers for how we should live our lives. You know, they are very simple. They want the food they want to do what they want to do, but they need boundaries, and we have to set them for them so that they have a healthy growing up. Their brains develop well. And unfortunately, as we get to adult, we stop letting go of all those things that we do as kids, which is go to bed early, wake up early without an alarm, not have their phone right next to their head, not drink, not eat crappy foods. You stick to very basic stuff every single day, and you enjoy life. You have joy with playing. You know, playing is something we don't do as adults. Everything's so serious and we take things too serious, but children are the best examples of how we should continue to live our lives as adults. So think about that. You reward a kid for their good behavior. Reward yourself for your good behavior. Make sure that you have your reward system here. This week's priorities, there's a section for that. A work to-do list. That's great when I sit down on a Sunday and just write out every week. Sometimes I have to go back to the week before on the things I didn't do and just keep copying it. My personal to-do list. Sometimes I fill that out, sometimes I don't, because there's just a lot here most of the time. But things I definitely did this last year was the habits and skills section. Generally, I would write out this year, I'm going to write out stick to paleo, do my meditation, my 1-minute meditation this first week, 2 minutes the second week, 3 minutes the third week. So I'm going to write that out, and you can check it off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which feels great. Then at the bottom, it says life balance to-do list. So it has health and fitness, all of those goals that you have down here. You can rewrite them per week. So it just stays fresh in your mind. You could also just go back to the beginning of the book and look at it, but we change. We are changing people. So every week is different, and you want to not be so stuck in your ways from the beginning of the year to February, March, April, May. You want to change it up. You want to adjust. You want to grow. My goals in January last year were super small, like I said, like my 1-minute meditation that I'm doing this next week. And in February, March, April, I kept incrementally bumping up my game. And if I started recognizing I wasn't doing it, then it was too much, and I dialed it back. I went back to the one before it. And so it's all about just bumping it up. And sometimes things happened where you have to dial it back down. For example, I bumped it up. And then in June, my dad got sick. In July, he died. I stopped doing my protocol. I stopped doing the things that I set. I had to dial my game back and set small goals again. And literally my goals looked like, just get up and make your breakfast. Like, that's all you got to do. You know, when I was really grieving, that's all. So restart your goals. Chillsun915 said, wow, I can't have gluten, dairy, or sugar. Very sad. Well, I mean, some people can. I don't know if you can, but I can't. I have multiple sclerosis, and I know that it causes inflammation. Most disease is caused by inflammation, and I have these little lesions in my spine that when they're inflamed, it causes my feet to go numb. And so when I have a piece of gluten, within 15 minutes, that little lesion in my spine inflames, and it makes my feet go numb, and I have to adjust. It sucks, but it's also a blessing because it makes me stick to my protocol. Yeah, thanks about the, my dad died. It was very sad. So anyways, back to setting your intentions and your goals. You have to be adjustable. You can't just set New Year's goals. It's literally a goal setting event every single day or every single week. I hate it when people set New Year's goals and don't continue to set goals. You have to continue to writing them and adjusting them and being excited about the ones you did and pat yourself on the back and say, that's like me. Yes, that's like me. That's like me. That's like me. And moving forward and adjusting, looking at it like a scientist, looking at the data and, telling yourself what needs work and what worked. That's all it is. It's just the willingness to look at yourself like data and not judging yourself or being shaming yourself about it. If I didn't know that when my dad died, and I didn't know to adjust my goals or to look at myself like a scientist and the data that it shows, I would have beat myself up so bad for not sticking to my goals when my dad died, which is silly because I'm already grieving. And I would sit there and I would beat myself up for not working out right or not waking up and doing my protocol or not sleeping right. No. You have to just look at yourself like data and look at what it's showing you and then adjust. My data when my dad died was, hey, you need to slow down. You need to change your goals. You need to slow down the goals that you had set previously because your body is in grieving mode right now and you got to slow down. So my working out changed, my eating changed, my sleeping changed, everything changed when my dad died. And I had to start with very basic small goals again, which kind of was like a reset. It was like a January 1 again, which is fine. That's what life does. It hits you, it throws you for a loop, and you've got to reset. You've got to change your goals. You got to change what this looks like. You are not who you used to be. Every single moment you are a changing being. Every single moment you're growing and flourishing. I like the concept of nature being a metaphor for goal setting because if we look at different plants and foliage, there's seasons, they're not the same all year round. Most of them, succulents are, man, there are some people in life that are like succulents. They can survive off of the smallest amount of water and be beautiful and whatever. They're great. But most of us are those plants that change throughout the year and have seasons. They shed, they molt, and then they regrow again. And I like to think about it that way, that life is going to throw you some curves. You're going to shed, you're going to molt, and you're going to regrow again. You're planting the seed, and you're gonna see yourself grow in a different way. So this is new for my new planner. At the end of it, at the bottom, it says rate your productivity from 1 to 10. That's new. I didn't see that last year. And then it says, how will I improve? I kind of like that. I like that it says rate it from 1 to 10. As a therapist, I often ask people on a 1 to 10 scale, how are they feeling? What's their anxiety like? What's their depression like? So this totally makes sense. Rate your productivity. That would be nice to have a number to it, because there are some days when I'm like, oh, I definitely was at a 2. I did not do anything I was supposed to do. And then right underneath it, it says, how will I improve? Great. You're automatically putting it down. And that's the thing. Don't lie to yourself. This is for you. Don't lie. It's just for you and you only, unless somebody looks into it. But even if they look at it, that's not a very trusting person in the first place. But they should be looking at it like, wow, this person's really organized. Awesome. Okay. That is the daily thing. The weekly thing is kind of the same. What tasks were not completed this week and why? It was a weekly review. Oh, this is all new for me. It has a weekly notes section, a weekly review. This week's main goal. Goal achieved. Rewarded myself. I love that. That's where Sidecar's going to come in. Sidecar Donuts. This week's wins. So again, they're celebrating your wins because it gives you that little dopamine hit. That's like me. What tasks were not completed this week and why? You want to be honest here so that you can do some improvements for the next week. You want to look at it like science, like data. Don't shame yourself. It's not a big shaming moment. It's just looking at it like data. How can I improve? What habits did I not pursue this week and why? That's looking at it from a growth mentality and, that science mentality too, scientist mentality. What have I learned this week? Man, a lot of these prompts are super detailed and redundant, but they really work. How do I feel about my progress this week? Ooh, we're talking about feelings. Love feelings. I'm a therapist. Go to Emotional Wheel on Google. You can download an emotional wheel and it has all the words for emotions. Totally going to do that, because emotional words, you have to increase your emotional vocabulary and not just say, fine. I can't tell you how many clients come to me and they're like, that's fine. There's bigger words. There's more detailed words you can use. So I pull up that emotional wheel and we look at what does fine actually look like? Disappointment, anger, contempt, resentment. What does it look like? So put some emotional words there. How will I improve next week? A lot of improvement stuff in this. I love it. And I think that's it. It comes with these little stickers. I love the rainbow colors. And again, it comes with how it works. You can do it however you want, but I should actually call Clever Fox. I've been promoting them for so long that I think that they should make me a sponsor. Just saying. Anyways, that's all I got for today. The thing that I want you to take away from this is find your identity, come up with your word. Mine is a zesty responder, an archer in a lab coat. Come up with yours. You need to have an identity of 2021. And then make sure you write your goals down, make them specific. And thirdly, you want to continue to rewrite your goals. So on that note, I am going to invite you to my Facebook group that I just started today. It's super new. I got the Fox Planner from Amazon. It's a Clever Fox Planner. There's all different colors. You get to choose your color. This is my one for this year. It's blue. I love it. This one I didn't mean to get. I didn't mean to get the daily planner. I wanted the weekly. But I'm going to give it a whirl this year. Let's see how it goes. And they're about $25 on Amazon. And they're very sturdy. I can't tell you. It went through a year of beating, coming back and forth from California to Texas. I threw it in my bag. It's super soft and leathery and nice. And it has this little closing thing and a pen holder, which I love. And again, where's my little pen? Make sure you get a pen that you love. My pen for 2020 was purple. And it's an erasable pen. It's those Frixion erasable ball pens. And erasable pens are great because you get to adjust and change. And, that's what you want to do, is be okay with adjusting and changing. You don't want to be so stuck. in, oh, I failed. You want to be able to adjust and change to whatever comes your way. So that's that. You can do this in just a plain old journal. I've shown you the things that are in this, and I've shown you like kind of the gist of what you should do. But back to joining the Facebook group. My Facebook group I just did today, and it's going to be a group of people interested in holding each other accountable to their goals. And every month I'm going to do one of these little mini coaching sessions to redo and to remind you about how to set your goals, how to set your intentions, how to restructure your identity, and it's free. So my Facebook group is called Imperfectly Coaching Group. If you can't find it, I'll post it in the comments. So this was fun. I've never done a Facebook Live before, and I hope I don't just toss this. I hope I can save it, because then I can post it on the Instagram TV. Oh God, I hope it doesn't just erase. Anyways, I appreciate all of those of you who have paid attention this long, and I wish you the best in the new year. And message me if you guys have any questions, or some people really struggled this last year, and it can be hard to set new goals when you are experiencing job loss or relationship loss. So if you struggle setting new kinds of goals for yourself for whatever reason, just let me know. Email me, and I'll help you out. And if you're interested in coaching or therapy, we have some really great therapists that work with Perfectly Imperfectly. And I'm a coach. Tiffany's a coach. We do optimize work and help set your intentions and your identity. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great and safe New Year's. And shout out to all of you who are sober. I'm coming in on January 5th will be my 3rd year of sobriety, so I'm really excited and proud of myself. That's like me. I did it. So those of you who are going to have fun tonight and drinking and stuff like that, just be safe, in all ways, COVID ways and safety driving ways. Be safe and enjoy each other. I hope to see you guys again, and have a great, great New Year. Bye. How do you end this thing? I don't know how to do that. I guess you press X. I think. Let's see. Bye, guys.